Welcome back, everyone, to another Steel Division 2 replay cast. This time, we are going to be looking at a game sent in by my good friend Chad Rokosowski versus, I believe it's Virgin Model or something. Anyway, it's also the friend of mine that happens to appear in most of my videos from Steel Division 2 playing with me, and he sent me this replay, which is apparently a nice fun game about tanks killing each other. And yeah, so taking a look at the players, we have obviously him with Petros Koutsis versus Vulpes and Amadeus Wolfgang. The divisions are as follows. So Chad Rokosowski is playing the 29th Tank Corps, or if you want to say it like the Russians do, I guess it would be 29-я Tankovый Korpus, which is pretty much one of the most all-rounded heavy armor units the Soviets have, most notable for the IS-2 heavy tank, and also some of the firepower that they have in the air, with bombers and some pretty good fighters. However, and the fighters are mostly P-39 Lend-Lease planes, because this division actually has quite a bit of Lend-Lease equipment. Not sure we will see it or not, but yeah, like for example, M10 tank destroyers. His friend is going to be playing as the 26th Infantry Guards Division, the 27-я, Shestova, or Shestaya, Gvardейская Стрелковая Divizia, which is a glorious little unit with a lot of good firepower, both in terms of aircraft, like the Yak-9 with cluster bombs, and in terms of artillery with the B-4s. And in terms of tanks, they've got a lot of KVs. While the opponents are playing the 5th Panzer Division and the 78th Sturm Division. The 5th Panzer is pretty much self-explanatory. It's got a lot of Panthers and Tigers. While, actually, I don't hear that much in-game volume, although it's supposed to be at like full, so whatever. Excellent. Yeah, it's really quiet actually. So actually I'm going to decrease the music volume, then increase the everything volume. Alright, can hear a little bit better now. While the Sturm Division is focusing more on the infantry and defensive plays. So as you can see, Vulpes is bringing in a lot of Panzer IV-Hs. Let's actually pause to see the beginning setup. We have, can I see? Yeah, okay, great. So we have essentially T-34s and infantry moving towards the town's little river. He's trying to cross the river to get into essentially a favorable position to fire at these guys coming in from the other side. Looks like he's going to have a M42 AT gun, and not the best position because these woods up here are not going to really give him a lot of line of sight, but he might want to bring it up to here, which would make it have a good position to support in the town. And T-34s are going to be coming in to support the infantry, with a couple of anti-aircraft guns coming in the background. In the meantime, his ally Petros and him are going to be moving a few units to the center to try to contest this against essentially the Sturm Division plus the infantry from the 5th Panzer. Not much armor support coming from the Germans, so this looks to be in the favor of the Soviets with 2 KVs. While on the right side is a relatively light force, actually, from Petros Koutsis. However, also the Germans from Amadeus are going to be very defensive as well, so I don't really see much going on the right side. Not really a lot in terms of infantry to push, though. There's like Sapiori with Papa Shah, which only have 4 men inside, so these units are not really going to be the most effective ever. Looks like already Zisv 2 is going to disembark to fire at the trucks over here, but it's only Erzsatstruppen, so it's not really all that important. It's more important to see what is going to happen on the left-hand side. We have the Maxims managing to actually set up, thanks to their Jeep. It's very important what he did over here. He put his Maxims in Jeeps, which are much faster than the trucks, so he was able to get in to positions that normally belong to the German side of the map and get there firing at the enemy infantry to make them disembark, which was very effective. The Germans are going to have to rely on their Panzer IVs to dislodge them if the Panzer IVs, though, can get line of sight, which is not going to be, you know, not going to be certain. Like, for example, this machine gun can just move back to the further little building, which it probably should, because it's eating fire from the two Panzer IVs. And, you know, these Pioneers probably aren't going to be enough to defeat the Strelki with DP machine guns that are being brought in. However, the armor advantage is definitely on the side of the Germans, and the Germans also have 120mm mortars set up in the woods up here, along with a pack and a leader, so they've got a lot of fire support in the bank. I haven't seen any planes except for this Heinkel recon aircraft, which doesn't really have... Its only machine gun is pointing at the air, as you can see, so this thing cannot be used to strafe any enemy infantry. It's just a recon. In fact, let's see how effective this is so far. Amadeus. Yeah, he does... Oh, Jesus Christ, of course. He can see a few guys, but, you know, obviously when he makes the pass coming in, it's gonna be a little bit better. 120mm mortars also from the Soviet side are starting to pummel the German positions up here, which would be probably very effective, but they're missing mostly. Needs to definitely bring them a little bit closer, because while the 120mm mortars have a lot of range, 6,000, you know, the accuracy might not be the best, and the Granatwerfer 81mm might be the same story, although they do manage to at least pin the guards. So while the Soviets are definitely winning on the left-hand side, and, well, they're pushing a little bit farther in the center than they should be, and also they've got really elite infantry over here, Avtomachiki, which are very effective in close-range combat. I don't see the Germans being able to push in here. While they are doing relatively well on the left-hand side, the right is a bit more of a stalemate. You know, one sad thing is that you cannot see the... Yeah, in neutral mode you cannot really see the points. Yeah, no. In fact, you just cannot see them from the replays at all. You cannot see the control points, which is relatively sad. Relatively sad. So let's speed it up a little bit. It's just... Oh wow, the Pioneers trying to push into the buildings, but it's just not gonna work. As you can see, the Strelki also coming in to flank. Panzer IV is trying to close in, but it's actually at a very close range, and this is dangerous. The T-34 could move in. Oh, shooter killed, though. So the Panzer IV was able to get the first shot in, and at this point, the T-34 is gonna be lucky to survive. But at the same time, there's like a lot of Soviet infantry over here, and a lot of it is Avtomachiki, which, again, very, very effective in close-range combat, so I sincerely doubt that the Germans are going to be able to get a significant foothold. And even over here, as you can see, there's a lot of infantry units. With the support of ZIS, it shouldn't be all that difficult for Rokossovsky to hold everything. And these Pioneers are about to die. The Panzer IV is out of line of sight, so it can't actually help. And over here, Avtomachiki getting in very, very close. While it's two Ersatztruppen and the Panzergrenadier Führer, I don't see these guys actually winning, because the Avtomachiki, you know, with their Papashas are going to be much more effective. Much more effective. As you can see, he's already almost destroyed an entire unit of Ersatztruppen. So that's the left-hand side. Anti-air artillery trying to set up, and is that the ZIS? Yeah, the ZIS managed to get a sighting on the Panzer IV, which is the last one left. Oh no, it's actually that there is the leader, which is down here, but it was able to destroy the Panzer IV. Very effective, and now the T-34 is pretty much going to be, well, not really having a free reign because of the pack and the other Panzer. Oh, the other Panzer also died. Well done on the ZIS's part. So the left-hand side is just very, very heavily in the favor of the Soviets right now. Looks like the first Avtomachiki was destroyed, but here comes the second one, and the Ersatztruppen are low on health anyway. Although there's 27 more where that came from, so that's going to be a big-ass fight. The Germans also trying to push into the center, but they don't see each other yet. Actually, is the Dozer seeing them? No. Okay. And looks like KB1 is pushing in very, very aggressively. In fact, the other KB1 is already dead, probably from being too aggressive. I don't see the carcass anywhere, but it might be this guy. Yep, it's definitely this guy. Moved in a little bit too close, probably to those Panzervernichtungs units with their Panzerschrecks. And looks like the Gvardia is going to be pushed outside of the woods and destroyed. So while the Soviets getting some good successes on the left-hand side, they're going to be facing a lot of infantry coming in, and also in the center they're being pushed back. On the extreme right, it's pretty much business as usual. In fact, I'm not even sure why the IS-1 Komroti, IS-1 leader, was purchased on the right side rather than the center. Would be a lot more effective in this tree line rather than the extreme right. And another thing that kind of surprises me is how there haven't really been many artillery or air purchases yet in the action. Oh. Bit of a... Wow. The Erzatruppen hordes are being more effective than I gave them credit for. However, yeah, they're meeting still Strelki DPs, and at this point, as you can see, they're just dying left and right, because these guys aren't exactly the most effective. Guard troop reinforcements from Petros, actually, so that's the other Soviet player, are coming in, but they're being kind of slowed down by the Pak-40, which is obviously not the best thing ever. Obviously not the best thing ever. This AT gun is still not really in the best position. Should probably be positioned somewhere over here to be able to fire at whatever is going to come from here. And in fact, there was actually a Panzer IV Führer, which is an interesting choice. Wow, he's trying to put it here, but I don't think it's going to really be able to... Yeah, no, it's not going to really be able to support all that well. And, yeah, it seems like the town is still in Soviet favor. Like, the Avtomachiki coming in here is going to destroy the Panzer Führer, the Panzergrenadier Führer, which is going to give the Soviets all this territory back, as you can see. And then these Ersatztruppen only have, essentially, they're only on borrowed time, basically. Because the Ersatztruppen are just not effective enough. Unfortunately, the Soviet blobbing, or unfortunately for the Soviets, the Soviet blobbing on the left-hand side is being punished real hard by the AT gun and the mortars. In fact, more mortars are being bought by Vulpes. And in the center, the Nazis are advancing, which is obviously not the best, because, you know, a few well-positioned units, this is a very strong defensive position. So if they can, again, position a few units extremely well, it's not really going to be easy for the Soviets to recapture this, because, you know, only infantry can cross the river, and if the tanks want to cross, they have to go for this bridge, which is obviously, you know, not the most safe of locations, or through the road, which is going to be covered from AT units from this forest, and this Panzer, and whatever is going to be in this town, so it's not the best either. Extreme right, the same. Okay, pretty much what you'd expect. Big German infantry push in center, but this is unlikely to actually succeed. More KVs coming in. And actually some Flamer Sturmoviki, probably for the forest. Or maybe for this forest. Where exactly? Oh no, for this area. Okay. Okay. Guess he's really afraid of German infantry coming in from here. This spotter plane is still doing its thing. Weird how the Allies really aren't trying to set up that much in terms of AA. And I like how the Dozer over here, the recon unit, is just still standing there. Is he spawning the Panzer? Yeah, he's spawning that Panzer IV Führer. So that's good for him. Speed it up a little bit. Not really much is going on right now. Oh, 76mm AT guns being bought, along with Su-76s, putting some rounds on the German infantry, and there's actually two IS-2s, one of them being a command unit, a lot of Strielki, or Stroki, and an ISU, ISU 152. Where could you put the ISU 152 actually that would be effective? Maybe like over here to cover the road or something. But yeah, this is going to be a really big investment of points into making a push on the left side. And actually, the Zistas are being bought not for their, the F-22s are not being bought for their anti-tank capabilities, which are limited, but mostly for their artillery. So they're going to be used in indirect fire. Yeah, here comes the howitzer fire, and it's on the path, unsurprisingly. There's actually a Tiger up here, but its transmission is damaged. I wonder what's causing this. Maybe the AT guns, but definitely the IS-2s. Oh wow, they've decided to attack the Gepard first, and the Gepard is dead. The Tiger is going to be taking fire as well from 2 of these big beasts, so yeah, it's unlikely that he's going to survive for much longer. Oh, he's gone unspotted. And now the ISU 152 will start to fire. The infantry is trying to cross the river from the bridge. Bad idea, because that's exactly what the Pak 40 was waiting for. That is exactly his mission. Tiger's trying to return fire on the IS-2, but, you know, frontal armor, so not really going to be the most effective at that range. And all these Strelki are pinned down on the bridge, trying to crawl across, which, to be fair, is likely to be successful because the Pak is going to be out of HE shells at this point. And it's not like these Ersatztruppen can really do too much with their Karabiner rifles. They need heavier firepower. Oh, he's actually decided to retreat, which was the wrong move in, you know, with hindsight and with bird's eye view. I can see everything. I see that he would have been able to push across relatively easily to a building or something where he could have recovered his morale. And the ISU 152 also firing at the Tiger and nails it. Excellent shot. So, Beast Killer, Zviera Boy unit decides to show his might once again. And the IS-2s are being shelled by some artillery. That's the mortars. Wow. LEFH's SDKFZ Commander, actually. That's a bold move, since he doesn't have really that many normal units. He's got the Panzer Grenadier Führer, but is that even in range? I cannot actually see the range of the commander. Alright. Oh, push over here as well, but not going to be the most effective because here comes the Panzer IV, which is waiting for just this, but also the Zis was waiting for just this moment. Excellently positioned trap. Excellently placed trap, and actually the Dozer is coming in from behind, which is going to flank the Ersatztruppen. And the Panzer IV is dead, and the Pak is being shelled by the artillery, which is also charring these woods into light woods. So yeah, if these Strelki decide to push in right now, they're going to be able to reach the forest. However, the Sturm Pioneers are likely to throw them back as well, so who knows. Stug on the right side is trying to come in with a lot of support that's not doing its job, and actually there's an Su-85, so it's very, very unlikely that the Stug is going to survive. Come on. What are you doing? What? What? Shoot him! What? Konnaya Razvietka trying to move in, but he's gonna be shot at by the Pinto Mountain machine gun from the Stug. He doesn't care, obviously, because he's like, who cares? But there's 2 Sturm Pioneers and 2 Schützen, and the LEIG, and the Stug Free Führer, another Stug Free G. What is this Su-85 doing? It's moving straight into the Pak 40's line of fire. Yep, it's taking fire. Maybe he's trying to protect the KV-85, but yeah, that was honestly, yeah. Look at that. He's trying to attack move here, which was a pretty bad idea, I'd say. In fact, I'm not even sure what this Stug is doing. What the hell is this guy doing? He's been given an order to move here, which is a really, really interesting move order. Because these Strelki could use their PTRD relatively easily, but, I mean, at this point, there's a lot of German units that are going to push in here and capture this ridge. On the extreme right, the situation is exactly as we expected it to. While here, there really aren't that many Soviet soldiers that can counterattack this push from the flank. KV-85 is trying to move in, but the Pak-40 is obviously going to have the upper hand from the woods. And the Panzerbüchse 41 is also doing its job. Bounced, but, you know, sight damage, transmission damage. At some point, these guys are going to get the penetration shot in. Yeah, falling back, and now the Su-85 is going to probably pretty easily be destroyed. And the infantry tries to close in, but the SKFZ 7-1 with its flak Vierlings is going to absolutely obliterate all of that. And in the background, there's actually a couple of Nebelwerfers and 150mm howitzers, so Amadeus is loading up on the artillery. Rokossovski's Strelki have arrived just in time to prevent this from being too big of a disaster, with a couple of more Sturmoviki coming in. However, here we have the Sturm Pioneers, so yeah, it's unlikely to be that successful for the Soviets. And in fact, we also have a Junkers 188 bomber coming in with 28 50-kilogram bombs, which might not be the best thing ever for the Russians. Here comes the bombs, and that's gonna be probably panicking these guys. Yep, instantly panicked, and that's gonna clear the way for the German infantry to seize this whole area. ZSU M15 flak truck trying to, you know, make something work, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely, especially since there's the Stugs coming in. Those can pretty easily deal with that guy. Now, obviously, Sturmoviki at close range going to be very effective with both the TNT and the Papashas, but, I mean, he's trying to micro away. It's not going to work because the Satcher charge is just way too well aimed. Actually, though, if the German infantry is going to be like that, then maybe the Sturmoviki actually have a chance, because they're really playing badly in that area. However, on the left-hand side, it seems like Rokossovski went for a lot of Sapiori, and these, obviously, with their TNT, can be very, very effective at clearing houses. Here comes the explosion, and there goes that unit. So yeah, that's pretty doable. The Germans here are relying on heavy tanks and artillery to push in, but the Soviets also have artillery. And it's firing on the center to prevent these Germans from pushing in too heavily. And oh boy, that's a big push from Vulpes. He was able to retake his ridge area, and now the Sapiori coming in from Rokossovski are going to be in a bad spot because of this Panzer IV-H in support. And that's a lot of Panzer Grenadiers coming in. So this could be a very, very dangerous push. He's going to have to rely on his half-tracks to provide fire support and, you know, the numbers and the Satcher charges. Also, lots of Su-76s to provide fire support. Oh, wow. And now the center over here is completely empty of Soviet troops. Obviously pretty good for the Germans. However, the whole situation isn't the best for them because the Russians have 13 flags as opposed to, or the Soviets have 13 flags as opposed to 11. And they've never been down on the points. So they're definitely ahead in the VP game. Good play with the half-tracks, actually. He's moved in here where the Panzer IV cannot see them, but they can see at least some of the infantry unit on the opposing bank of the river, which means that their 50 cals are coming into play and absolutely shredding these Panzer Grenadiers. Now here comes the Sapiori, but they're a little bit too far away to throw the TNT, so they're going to absolutely be obliterated by these Panzer Grenadiers, because the Panzer Grenadiers have the most of their firepower in the MGs, while the Sapiori have it on the TNT. And as you can see, where they were able to flank, have actually been successful. They've destroyed one Panzer Grenadiers, which is allowing them to wrap up the flank 4 against 2, along with the support from the half-tracks. Well done. And now the half-tracks have completely pinned down at least one of them, so that's going to be the surrender, probably, of one of these guys. For some reason, the Sturm Pioneers were not brought in, which means that, you know, the Sapiori are, like, in a really good spot. The Panzer IV, however, is sitting here without any counters, so he's just moving in, just doing his best. Some German artillery is also coming in, which might mean that the Sapiori are gonna die, but no. All of the Panzergrenadiers are now pinned down. So, yeah. Man, if these Sturm Pioneers were just to come in... Oh, but they'd actually be hit on the way there because this area doesn't have any cover. Okay. And there we go. That's the end of one of these guys. And the second Panzergrenadier should mostly be dead as well. Strelki also being able to push in from the flank is not bad for the Soviets. However, Panzer A coming in here and the fire support from the left-hand side is going to prevent that from being too dangerous of a push. And what is this Panzer doing? It's trying to reach the spawn area, which might not be the best idea. Here comes the Su-76 trying to direct fire on the Panzer IV, bounces on the frontal armor. It's unlikely to win the duel without any cover. However, the Panzer IV is now showing the rear armor, which, you know... Oh, but he is trying to artillery some other place. KV-85s. Yeah, like the KV-85s are doing well. Oh, okay. Pack is out of ammunition. Really needs a supply unit because otherwise the KV-85s are going to be superior to the Stugs at this medium to close range. And the Soviets look set at the very least push the Germans back a little bit in the center. If not, retake the whole area. On the left-hand side, the town is still in Soviet control, and the Panthers... looks like the command Panther was destroyed over here, likely by the IS-2s, which are still around. Another IS-2 is coming in, which, you know, obviously going to add a little bit of a sturdiness to the Soviet defense system. And the Panzergrenadiers are just coming in waves over here, but really should be sending in more Sturm Pioneers instead of the Panzergrenadiers because, you know, they're being, like, heavily suppressed on the way in. And then once they get in, it's like, what are they gonna do? Not much, because they're already suppressed, and so they're probably gonna lose the gun battles with the already existing Soviet infantry. He's actually trying to move into close range, which might not be the best idea. Yeah, he's definitely gonna die. But if you were using the Flamers, then he would be able to, at the very least, outgun, you know, in close range, the Soviet infantry with Flamers. Also, looks like the IS-2 Komroti, or sorry, no, the IS-2 43 got its crew killed, but yeah, here comes the Studebaker truck, or the Studebaker truck to support. Strange how no Allied air power has been seen so far. Only Germans. Only Germans so far. One thing I'd say is that Wolfgang over here is definitely not doing the best he could with his Stug play. He's been using his Stugs, essentially has like a... I don't know. Oh, that's actually Strafniki. Oh, wow. Okay. Wait, did the Strafniki destroy... The Strafniki just destroyed the Stug with the PTRD. That's amazing. Or maybe the truck, the anti-air truck, destroyed these people. Oh boy, oh boy, Strafniki gonna get destroyed. I don't really like the Strafniki all that much. Anyway, the Stug play has definitely been lacking. He could just like place them like right over here, and they'd provide good fire support. Or place one over here with infantry cover, but he has been sending them in almost as if they were tanks, which is just really not the best. Also, not exactly the best position for Flak 88. Like, yeah, it sees a lot of stuff, but it's completely in the open, and probably should, you know, fire the Nebelwerfers, because the Nebelwerfers would obviously be pretty effective. Looks like Rokossovsky is starting to look into pushing this into the center, and that's a lot of Soviet firepower. 2 Su-85s, S2, actually 2 S2s, and a T-34-85 command tank. The Panther should definitely be focusing down the command tank first, because, you know, it's a T-34-85, not an S2. He's using the S2 essentially to tank, but, you know, the Panther could just choose to shoot at the T-34-85, but, yeah. Not exactly the best thing ever. Good job actually getting that anti-aircraft, because I see that the Germans are starting to get aircraft, so anti-air, useful. And I think what he's going to be trying to do is recapture this area where there's a Panther. And ooh, that's a lot of Katyusha, very close to possible danger. He's trying to recapture this area, I think, to get this point that I can see on the minimap, and also trying to capture this point near the town, which would again bring him back to essentially 13 to 11 or 14 to 10. Oh boy. What is this Panther doing? Oh my goodness me. Sight damaged. Here comes the RPG-43 grenades. Well done, comrade. Very well done. And the artillery is still falling over here. Ah, barely. Barely not enough. The Panther over here is trying to shoot at the encroaching Soviet armor horde, but IS-2 1943 destroys it. Well done. PAK-40 is not yet joining the fight. It's shooting at some... Oh, the KV-85. KV-85 dies. ISU-152 moving into close range. That's also not the best use of the ISU-152. It's like, do you not see? There's nothing in here. And obviously, that means he's going to be taking some good fire. And wait, hold on. How do I get this back? Oh wow, he dies. How do I get the panel back? Oh, okay. Thank you. I guess it's escape. Oh, finally some aircraft from the Allies. We have the Il-237 with the bombs. Now, one thing that you need to do with these guys that Petros might not be doing, I still need to check it out, is turn off Winchester evacuation, which is when your plane expends its bombs and automatically evacuates. Because this plane doubles as a bomber with the bombs, but also as an anti-tank plane because it's got a anti-tank cannon on it. So you can come in, drop the bombs on the infantry, or just, you know, call it in not to drop any bombs, but to stick around and be an anti-tank plane like the Henschel. Oh, these guys are definitely not going to win. That's too many Germans. Wait. They're actually winning? Oh, wow. They're going to push back the Schützen. Well done. The power of the Sturmoviki. Assault infantry doing its job. That's a German plane going down. Another bomber. The German air offensives haven't really been the best. You know, they haven't really been timed correctly. Panzer Grenadiers are likely to defeat the Strielki that are moving in. We're very likely to. And the Ju-188 over here is really not the best plane to get a bombing run going on the IS-2s. Because this is only 50-kilogram bombs. It can only really panic the IS-2s. It really isn't going to do any damage. And it looks like the tank duel is going to definitely go in favor of the Soviets. No, I don't want to click on any unit. I just want to take a screenshot. So I wonder how they see anything with all those trees. Yeah, as predicted, the Panzer Grenadiers are going to win that. And, oh, Oh, apparently M2s can cross the rivers. And no. There's a Pak 40 there. The Katyusha haven't been used yet, which is interesting. I myself would have looked for, you know, signs of the enemy artillery firing, and then fire the Katyusha in that general direction. Here comes A-20C Boston's. Is that going to be a danger close bombing run on the Strelki and the Panzergrenadiers? Yeah, it is. Interesting. Interesting maneuver. Another A-20 coming in, and that's going to be the Panzervernichtungsturms and the Schützen. Pretty easily destroyed. So that's that. And on the right side, it seems like Petros has decided to push, but oh Jesus. I'm not sure this is the best planned push ever. You know, the best part actually are the ZIS-5V Dushka, because these are going to be able to provide fire support along with the IS-1. In fact, I don't really see any counters to the IS-1. However, the IS-1 requires line of sight, so who knows. Overall, like, the Soviets might have enough troops to push in. Again, it really depends on the tank, how well it is used. Or whether or not it gets destroyed by the Flak 88, which is waiting for ambush. Yeah, essentially... Yo, what? Oh, it's in a very unfortunate position, and now it's gonna reveal itself firing at infantry. Which is not the best thing ever, you know? Like, yeah, it's gonna be effective at panicking them and maybe killing them, but it's like, you know... It's revealing its position, and it really should have waited until the IS-1 was in range. The Panzerschrecks were there in ambush. They had their G43s deactivated, but it's really not going to be the best. Like, they were spotted and now they're going to die. Katyusha still not being used. Finally, some Yak-9Bs also being called in. But it's a little bit late. Like, the German tanks are all dead, as you can see. Look at all those smokes coming up. The Panthers are trying to lay an ambush in these woods, but that's very far back compared to where the Soviets are. The Soviets could push this armor column all the way up to here. It would be very, very difficult to deal with. If, yeah, again, I think he was waiting for these Strelki to come in to get a flanking maneuver, maybe. He also definitely needs to clear these woods, but he might be afraid that there's like too much or something. So who knows? That is a lot of Strafniki. And also a lot of Schützen. So that's going to be a big blob fight. Just like on the right side, and no, it looks like the Germans have definitely gotten the upper hand over here. All the attacking Soviet infantry has been either pinned or destroyed. So that's going to be a no-no for the Russians. And oh, the Katyusha are firing. Where? Looks like on the extreme left. Oh yeah, they're counter-battering the artillery finally. Let's see. Wow, they're all firing at these two? Damn, on the SK-18s. Yeah, the SK-18s are going to be destroyed by that. And these are expensive. Actually, no, they're 80, wow. No, I was getting myself confused with these same howitzers from Steel Division 1, which are a little bit more expensive. Really weird how you used all of your Katyusha for that target. Like, I would have expected a little bit of counter fire on the 105mm and the 120mm as well. Extreme left, we still have these same IS-2s from earlier on, although it seems like Command IS-2 has been destroyed for good. And now the Strafniki are holding. At this point, I don't see any danger of this ever falling to the Germans again. And oh, the Strelki tried to push in, but they're being cut off. And Su-85 tries to push in, but surprise, there's a Pak 40, and it's dead. So it's really going to need to wait on the IS-2s with their better armor. And the Germans might have defeated the Soviet push, but it's not like they really have much to really push in. Although it's kind of funny, the IS-1 is trying to move in, and looks like the Flak 88 has been destroyed. But there's like a lot of anti-armor coming in. And oops, it's a Stub flank. Yeah, now the IS is in serious trouble. He needs to run to the rear. Needs to backpedal. Come on. No, what are you doing? Don't fight these guys at long range. There's no reason that driver knocked out. He's dead. With the Stub coming in, firing point blank. Yak 9B tries to... Oh wow, lots of Yak 9Bs trying to get their cluster P-tabs in there, but they're getting Flak 88 from somewhere. Yeah, from here. So yeah, one of them goes down to the 37mm. IL-2 comes in, goes down to the Flak fire. So Soviet air counteroffensive really doesn't pay off. But now the Soviets are actually taking the infantry game to a new level. Looks like the blob fight went in their favor, and now they have the center plateau in their control. The pack was destroyed, and now the Panthers are trying to duel in the open against the IS-2 line, but this is not going to work, as you can see. You know, IS-2s just have better armor, and there goes the Panther, destroyed to spalling. Well done. Looks like there's also some German artillery pieces over here, SK-18 100mm, trying to panic the IS tanks, but it's not gonna be enough, you know. It's not gonna be enough. They required anti-tank guns hidden in the woods to get some ambushes on these guys. Look at this line of steel. This line of steel isn't good. Oh my goodness. Is that friendly fire? Or was that Panzerfaust? I don't know. At this point, this tank horde can just kind of push to the base, essentially. Like, the only thing that can stop it is this Flak 88, but, you know, doesn't have exactly the best line of sight. Lavochkin fighter destroys the recon plane, which is obviously pretty good, and now runs away. And at this point, I think this is pretty much over. Oh wow, the German armor has decided to push in, although it's only the Stug. Yeah, build out, obviously. What is this? That's a fighter. Yeah, the Stug decided to push in on its own. I definitely say that the German armor management was a big issue on their part. Also, they had a bit of a tendency to send in their infantry, and yeah, look at that, all the Panthers are dead. They had a bit of a tendency to send in... Man, I wish that I could go back and get a screenshot of that line of tanks. Because that was quite something. That was quite something. Hide panel. Or I can also hide HUD. Oh, that's amazing. Essentially, what I'd say was a big issue for the Germans, okay, was the fact that they were never able to really coordinate their infantry and their armor together that well, and so wasn't really that difficult for the Soviets once they had their bearings straight, and they had, you know, some good armor built up, and they had their artillery superiority. It wasn't really all that difficult for them to actually push up and get firepower superiority. So yeah, taking a look at some of the best units, we definitely see that some of the IS-2s did pretty well. They were well supported, so they were in the correct environment for them to succeed, and the Germans, again, never really managed to coordinate their infantry and tanks together that well, or even their tanks and AT guns. So yeah, Soviets are able to take that advantage, roll with it, and from that, with better artillery and better armor, the infantry came second, and you know, could do their job well. Because for most of the game, it seemed like the Germans were really winning the fights for the woods, but after a while, obviously, once they started losing all their fire support units, it didn't really go all that well. So yeah, that's basically about it. So that's the end for the replay. That's actually the first Steel Division 2 replay I cast without that's not mine. So in case you want to send in your replays, you can do it by sending them to my email, as you used to be able to in the Company of Heroes days. I've also got some Company of Heroes coming up on the channel, so that should hopefully be pretty cool. And yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you soon, and as always, take care.